there's liquid forms, multivitamins, there's a ton of different chewable forms. If you're having trouble finding one, you can try asking your doctor to write a prescription for a specific vitamin that's a liquid form, and then you can fill it at the pharmacy if you can't find it over the counter at CVS or a grocery store. Good question. I saw a couple of people raise their hands, but I don't see any other questions. All right, here's one from Frank. Those of us with GI diseases that at any given time can't tolerate to eat anything, other ideas? So GI issues that are preventing you from eating, that can really vary or run the gamut. If you have like an acute illness, then the focus should be maintaining your electrolyte intake. So using some kind of sports drink like Gatorade, just to make sure that you're not getting dehydrated. That's the #1 concern. If it's a short period of time, chances of you becoming malnourished are pretty low. But if it's a long period of time, then kind of fixing the underlying issue is going to be very important. If it's a pancreatic issue, you may need enzymes. So that's something to talk to the doctor about. Okay, we're getting a bunch of questions, so I'm gonna. From Phoebe, would buying organic foods help with the mineral content variation? Not necessarily. So organic only means that those crops are sprayed with only an approved list of pesticides. So it doesn't really have anything to do with the soil. You don't have to have organic pesticides, let's see, if you use compost or you rotate your crops, you can still be non-organic. So what really matters is that you're kind of buying locally from smaller farms that you know have good farming and soil practices. From Lynn, has there been any research done on veganism and DM? I found that meat and dairy are very inflammatory, so have become vegan. Not that I know of. I don't think there's specific research, but that's a great example of how diet is very individual, and people have very different reactions to different diets. And so Lynn, who feels she gets more inflammation from meat and dairy, has found a way around that by eating vegan. And that's completely fine. And I'm happy to hear that you found something that works for you. If you are going to choose to be vegan or vegetarian, just making sure you do your research so that you're getting all the nutrients you need. The biggest thing for vegans is B12. So I always suggest that a vegan takes B12 supplements. Okay, Phoebe. One of my concerns is losing muscle when trying to lose fat. Are there any tips to keep your muscle mass when trying to lose fat? So a lot of people worry about this, that when you are in a calorie deficit, which is what's required to lose weight, that your body will start using protein for energy and you'll see a decrease in muscle tone. And that's definitely not necessary when you're losing weight. You don't have to go into this muscle catabolism. That's what you want to avoid. So the best way to do that while you're losing weight is to make sure that you're still eating at regular intervals. So even if your meals are lower calorie, if you're still eating, every 4 hours or so, that's going to prevent your muscles from breaking down because you will be providing your body with a steady flow of energy throughout the day. Is it possible to obtain a copy of these slides? I believe it's going to be recorded, and I believe it will be on the website. How do you feel about natural supplements like L-theanine green tea extract to help with energy? So again, energy is calories, right? So green tea extract or itself is a stimulant, and it's going to provide a temporary feeling of energy similar to caffeine, but it's not going to provide sustained energy. So it's the same principle. You need to make sure you're eating adequate calories for a steady flow of energy. What's healthy in a healthy diet? Something we can do. So Mindy, I'm not sure I understand your question, but I think you're basically asking is how to create a healthy diet for yourself. And again, I recommend meeting with a dietitian to help outline exactly what that means for you. Bloating and stomach issues with DM1, what can I do to help with these symptoms? So bloating and stomach issues can be caused by many different things. It could be certain things you're eating in the diet. It could be if you've been on antibiotics and never took a probiotic afterwards, it might be an imbalance in your gut flora, in which case you might want to try eating probiotic foods. But there's going to be a GI session at 3 o'clock Pacific today. So I would suggest joining that one if you have some specific GI concerns. From Rob. Is there a particular dietitian to work with, or is it common knowledge in the specialty? Ideally, every dietitian would be able to help with this, but that's not necessarily the case. There are a few neuromuscular specific dietitians like myself, but if you can't find one, just be sure to tell them that what you want is a diet that's appropriate macronutrients for your energy level, and then describe to them very honestly what you're currently doing and what's not working for you. And that will help that dietitian kind of steer you in the right direction to figure out what's going to work for you. Sorry, I'm going so fast. We have so many. I do not recommend a fasting diet ever for myotonic dystrophy, ever. And that's because the muscles need a constant flow of energy. And so what that means is you should be eating every 4 hours or so at regular intervals. You should always eat breakfast because we have a very long period of fasting overnight while we're asleep. So eating first thing in the morning and then about every 4 hours to avoid a fast. Good question. Okay, this is a really specific one about reflux. That's going to be individual. Okay, how many grams of protein to gain muscle mass? So this varies. In general, protein recommendations are weight-based. So in terms of kilograms, I'm not going to do the math really quick because I got to hurry up, but in general, anywhere from 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram